Hello, hello. So same idea as yesterday. I've got one of those formatives for you guys to work on when you get logged in. And since I think everybody got in yesterday, we should all be able to get in today. Amal, I'm not sure if you were, so if you have issues, let me know and I can get you the code to get in. Dang it. All right, give me 2 seconds to fix it so that you guys can access it. Should be graphing, right? Warm up graphing. Okay, I think if you refresh, you should be good now. Okay, we should be good to go now. Joseph's here. Is it not letting you in, Amal? Let me get you a code that you can just enter on formative that'll get you in. So Amal, if you just click on formative and it'll open formative for you. And if you enter that code that I just put in the chat, it will add you to the class. And then you'll click on the one that says graphing. if you did your homework, these shouldn't be too hard. I've got them all. You got it. Darren's got the first two going. Isaiah has it open. Give you that one. So this is part of why it's important to keep up with your Apex lessons, because I will correspond the warm-ups with them. So I will probably only go over the last one in the warm-up today, unless you have questions on the others. I don't know about you guys, but it's a little cloudy today. I don't mind it after our super hot days. I feel like I'm not dying today. Joseph's here. Darren's here. So don't forget to do those journal assignments and those practice assignments. You don't have that many of them on Apex. I think Darren is the only one that turned in the practice that was due today. And then I only got Darren and Amal's journal. The journal and the practice are just as important as the quizzes. They are worth equal points for your overall grade. But like I said, you really don't have that many of them. You have the journal from Monday, you had a practice yesterday, and those are the only ones this week that you will have. You can turn in stuff late. I don't mind, that's fine. I mean, we only have 2 weeks together, so that's not like you'll be turning things in super late. So if you didn't get it done, you can still go back and do it. But you definitely want to kind of get everything done. Check on how we're doing with our warm-up. Hey. Murphy, let's not bark. Hey. Dakota, knock it off. say we'll give you guys maybe another 2 minutes here to make sure you've got the warm up done, especially that graph. Looks good. I would say one hint that I have for you is that it is a negative slope, so make sure you pay attention to that. Take attendance here. About 1 more minute, and then I will go over mostly just number 5, might briefly talk about 1 through 4. And then we'll get started. Oh no, we lost Khalil. All right, we will go ahead. I'm going to switch so that I'm on my iPad so we can go over the warm up just to make sure we're all on the same page. And then we'll talk about what we're going to do during our live time together. So we'll switch here. We need to charge this. Okay. So for which letter represents the slope, that's going to be your M. The y-intercept is the B. So what might slope look like in a real world problem? I saw some good answers on that. Some people said like it could be like how steep a hill is if you're on a hike. It could be any kind of rate of change. So like money being earned or changed over time, or any kind of thing that basically changes over time is slope. Seemed like we got a little more stuck on number 4, which is what might a y-intercept look like. That's going to be, I always teach it that that's the same thing as saying starts with. So depending on what your real world slope is, the y-intercept is going to be where it starts. So if you used like the elevation of a hill, it would be the y-intercept would be where like you start your hike or where you start the measurement. If you're using money or like a rate of change per hour, then your y-intercept might be something like how much money you had before you got started, or what it costs before you start making money. Basically, the y-intercept is going to be the value that you start with. And then I saw a lot of really good work on this graph. You guys seem to be pretty good at that. So what I like to do is I kind of start with my y-intercept here. So that 5 is the y-intercept. And it seemed like everybody pretty much knew that and was able to put our first dot up on that 5. And then hopefully it is not new when you hear things like rise over run. That's what we're going to use this fraction with. So if my rise is on top and my run is on the bottom, I have to pay attention to notice that this is a negative 2/3. So instead of up 2/3, I'm going to go down 2 over 3. So down 2 and over 3 would put my next dot here. Down 2 and over 3 is going to put a dot there. Down 2 over 3. And I always make between 3 or 4 dots. And then you can use the handy straight line tool and easily connect those dots. And then little arrows at the end to show that that line would keep going. And so that's what our line should look like for our warm up. Like I said, the only real mistake I saw a little bit was kind of on that negative. Some people had their line going up instead of down, but otherwise you guys did a really good job with that warm up. Okay, I'm gonna go back to my computer. And we will talk about what we want to do today. So you guys are going to be continuing our Shark Tank project that we started yesterday. I believe I got almost everybody's. If I go to, you can check and see if you got credit for yesterday's Shark Tank. I have not. I think I graded them at about 8 a.m. this morning. So if you have added to it since then, you might not have your grade for it. But if you finished it yesterday, it should have check marks. So Joseph is good to move on to the next step. Darren is good. And Isaiah is good. And it looks like Khalil and Amal, I'm going to need to look at your guys's before you're ready to go to the next step. Let's see. So when you click on from today's module, it says market planning project day 2. That's what we want to open, and it's going to look like this guy. So this is a continuation of what you did yesterday. So you're probably also going to want yesterday's, which was this guy. So yesterday you guys filled this out all the way down through the sale. Today we are going to add day 2, which is our functions and our graphs. So what you need to do today is you're going to need to come up with some equations, build tables, and then graph your rules. Once you graph, you'll finish filling out this light blue part, which is kind of like your answer, if you will. Let's see here. This one is locked. Goodness gracious, I'm failing at this. Let's see. We need Shark Tank day 2 to open. I will make sure that this is taken care of for tomorrow so we don't have this issue again. Give me 30 seconds, I'll have it switched. This one really is locked. I had this one locked till like yesterday. Come on. All right, you should have access to it now. I added to the module for today. I'm gonna need to hit refresh on mine to help you guys if you get stuck. I added the Shark Tank project example here. So if you click on this in your modules, it's gonna open a document. It's the one that I showed you yesterday, but it includes today's piece.
It says we don't have access to the example.
For the Shark Tank one?
Yeah.
Even if you hit refresh, because it was locked, but I think I unlocked it. So you might have to hit refresh. Do we have any issues getting anything open right now? I think because you guys all come from different schools, it's kind of making settings a little weird. Okay. No, we're good. Nobody says they're having issues, so I'll keep going. I'm gonna zoom in on this. So this is what you saw yesterday as your example. And like I said, almost everybody got through this. You are gonna need this today to do day 2. So you should have got all the way through this sale part. And we did want to fill this out that after they buy one, maybe they get the next one a little bit cheaper, something like that. Because today you're going to move on to the equations. So you're going to need to come up with 2 equations that go with your business proposal. The first one is the cost. So the first one has to do with how much is it going to cost you to do it? And we have a rule. So it says Y is going to be money, X is number of items, B is your overhead cost in this equation. So if you look at this, all of this information I got from up here. So the M, your slope, is how much it costs per product that you're making. So I came up here and that I figured that out right here. Each item will cost this much to produce. And the way I got that number was I took my total costs and divided by 1,000. So I was able to come up with the cost of just one item right here. That's going to be your slope. That's going to be your M. And then the B was the overhead or the one-time fees. That came from up here as well, where you filled out this overhead. My example was renting a booth and buying a table and supplies. So overhead is that one-time fee of $300. And so that is my y-intercept for my cost equation. My income equation comes from this sale piece. So it says, in order to encourage customers to buy more, the first item is $15. So when they buy and then every other item is 12. So what you want to do is that every other item that you filled out, so that's this $12, that's going to be your slope. That's your price per necklace. And then for the first one that they bought, you're going to do the difference between the sale and the first price. So this $3 for me came because the first necklace they buy is $3 more than any other necklace I'm going to have them buy. So my income comes from the $12 for every necklace. And then I need to add $3 extra because the first one is $3 more than this one. So if you're not sure where these numbers came from, it kind of lays it out for you right here. You're just going to have to adjust the numbers for your business and what you were selling yours for. And remember, I can see the Cami, I can see the document you have open as you're working on it. So if you get stuck at any point, you can just ask me to look at it or ask for help and I'll be able to see what you're working on. Once you have a rule, an equation for your cost, and you have an equation for your income, you're going to use those to fill out a table. So I have a table for cost and I have a table for income. If X is 0, 10, 20, 30, or 1,000, you're going to plug that into your rule to come up with the total cost to produce that item. So use your rules to come up with Y. So hopefully we all know how to do substitution, where I'm going to replace the X in the equation with one of these numbers, and then do the math to get y. And then you do the same thing over here, but this time you use your rule for your income. So you have two tables that you're making where X is our input, number of items. So I would plug 0 in right here and then do 12 times 0 is 0 plus 3 is 3. So 0 is 3. Once you've got two tables, then you're going to graph. This is where it's going to get maybe a little tricky for you. Down here, you can totally go by have each one of these be 10 and be fine. You're going to need to figure out based on what you are selling your product for, how to scale your y-axis. Because I know, for instance, one of you is like selling it for like 10 cents. So to have every one of these be $1 seems like a lot. So you would maybe have every one of those be like 10 cents. So instead of, so it would be 1 cent each. So you are going to have to figure out how to scale your y-axis so that it makes sense to the amount of money you are making per product. I had someone who was making like, they were selling it for like thousands of dollars. Again, it's not going to make sense to scale your y-axis by dollars. You're not going to get to $1,000. So you need to figure out how to scale this on yours. So we're over here, how to scale your axis so that it fits with your money for your project. Domain and range. So this shouldn't be new, but we have not talked about it. Domain is, if I want to enter a text box, is what, yeah, I got it. What, come on. What values for X make sense? So it might be if X is number of products sold, we don't need any negative numbers on our number line because we're not going to sell negative items. So honestly, X will probably be from 0 to maybe we say 1,000 because we were going to sell 1,000 products. The range is going to be different. Your range is what values make sense for the money. Are you ever in negative money? And what is the maximum? And we took it to 1,000. So what is the maximum money that you can make off of your product? So range is going to be the minimum money that you have. And that could be negative, right? If it's an overhead, that could be negative to the maximum money at 1,000 products will be how high you need to make it. And then you're going to graph your two lines, and there's going to be a point where your lines cross. So if we look at the example, my lines crossed right here. So you need a domain for each potentially. I shouldn't really need to leave this example up, but I will leave this example up, but you have access to it. I wanted to make this accessible to you so you can use it to help you, okay? So my two lines cross. I believe my red line is my, what is it? Is my red line is my income and the blue is the cost. So up until this point, I'm not making any money. Until I have a bigger red line than I have a blue line, I'm not making money. This is money that I owe. We don't like this blue line. This blue line is the money that you are spending. We want the blue line to be lower than the red line. The red line's money you're making, blue is money that you're spending. This point right here, where they cross, this is where I'm going to start making money. After this point, I'm going to start making money. I'm going to make more money than I'm spending to make my product. So when you get down here, it says, when are you going to start making money? That's where you look for where your two lines cross. So for me, that was at about 32 is when my red line got bigger than my blue line. And then here's an example of using, what's this called? Equal values method to solve, or you use your graph. And then you also use your graph. It says if we want to earn $8,000 to reach our goal, then you have to plug it into your equation. So you guys might need a little bit of help when you get down here, and I can totally do that for you. Just make sure you ask. We're sitting at about 25 minutes of Zoom time left. So get started so that I'm here to help you. If you did not finish day 1, you cannot move on to day 2. You need to have all of this done so that you're able to do your day 2. So I will open the assignment so I can see your guys' progress, and then just let me know if you need me to step in and help you out. So Shark Tank day 1, Shark Tank day 2. If you're done with day 1, you need to be working on day 2. Good, Amal, I'm giving you a complete on your day 1, so you should be working on your day 2. Joseph is good, Darren's good, so Khalil. Good, you're gonna sell them for 8. So Khalil, on yours, you are gonna wanna sell your product for more than it costs you to make your product. Otherwise, you're never gonna make more money. So I would go in and I would charge more than $8 for your project or for your product. But once you do that, yeah, I think 16 is reasonable. It'll just take you a little bit of time to make your money back. But once you do that, you are good to go on to day 2.